many in our community, whether it gets off the ground or not, but to describe the level of commitment that each of you have put into that is quite impressive, and certainly appreciated by myself and I assume my colleagues in terms of the value proposition of what you're bringing to the community. So I want to commend you for that. Another question that I have is, from your perspective, maybe I'm going to ask you, Jonathan, directly, but I'm going to ask you to sort of think about it from the perspective of your entire committee, is are you satisfied as a committee with the level of resident input and involvement? And do you think, are you comfortable that the community has had, in quotation marks, its say in how you've developed this to date?
I guess I would have 2 points that I would respond to with that. One is that while I would have loved to have seen 500 people try to cram into the senior center for our visioning session, we did have 80, and from what the Cecil Group told us, for a town of our size, 80 was actually a fairly solid turnout, above average. So we did get a good turnout for what a visioning session is. And then secondly, what I would say is it's actually, it seems bad, but it was actually important that we had naysayers at our visioning session. One of the people that submitted a proposal that we did not go with had actually told us that they had gotten their plan very far along, and then they ran into one stakeholder who decided they were absolutely not going to let that plan move forward, and it killed the whole thing. So even though we only had 80 or so residents come out, I thought we had an excellent sample of various ideas from the positive people who really weren't worried about the traffic or the parking or anything like that. They were just looking for new ideas. They want dog parks, they want weddings, they want festivals. It was all, very happy. But we had those naysayers out there who just thought this whole thing would just crash and burn if we dare put a shovel in the ground. So I was glad that those people came out now. I don't want those people to come out 2 years from now when we're hanging signs or putting in benches or anything like that.
You may
So,
still.
well, I'm glad they didn't wait. So that being said, I feel good that there's no, that we've eliminated most of the landmines out there. So in that sense, yes, I think we got a good sample of our community and a good amount of input for various ideas and various issues and objections that we would have to overcome.
So tonight, if I understand it, you received this final presentation today. You presented that to us tonight. Can you describe sort of your go-forward action plan? Where are you heading next, and what's your vision in the next 3 or 4 months?
At this point, I believe we have a couple of things. One is, to go back to Mr. Gay's point, is we are furthering the exploration of what properties would be available and what could be done with those properties if the town was interested and able to buy them. So that is a little bit of a game changer, because there is a lot of property in the area that is potentially available, and where the fire station is the central issue around which none of this can really move forward at all. I would say the next 4 or 5 months really, it depends on what happens with that particular issue, whether there's an idea put in place and something moves forward on that. Everything else up until that point, as I've heard a couple of the word thrown about a couple times, is this is theoretical. Until that fire station decision is made, I'm not really sure what other steps we could take at this point that couldn't just run flat into a contradiction with the fire station.
Do you intend to meet with other boards, the Finance Committee, perhaps the Planning Board, to do this same presentation, or are you in a holding pattern completely until the fire station is resolved?
I think right now that we have no other plans to meet with any other committees. If we're invited, we will certainly go, but at this time we haven't scheduled anything or put out any inquiries to meet with any other boards or committees.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And again, I just want to commend you all. I think you put in a lot of work and had certainly some good help from, it looks like Cecil Group, but it's good to see those hours pay off with a polished product and presentation like this, so thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mrs. Stronach?
One more thing. You also had a Facebook page that in the beginning was pretty active, if I recall, from what I was seeing too, so, and there seemed to be some activity in that as well, just so if people do want to go look at it, that's out there too, and that's not being taken down, so people still have that venue in.
That's correct.
Right?
Yes.
Just want to make sure that people know that
And
that's out there
we
too.
did have Cecil change the questions and continually bring up new ideas so that people could continually come back and revisit that Facebook page and continue to generate more interest, not only for people that we had already caught the attention of, but also by presenting more ideas and issues and thoughts, hopefully eventually reach as many people as possible and trying to generate as much interest as possible in our town center.
So I just want to remind people that that's out there if they want to look at it too.
Thank you. Thank you, Jonathan, for not only doing the presentation as the vice chair, thank you, so I didn't have to wear two hats tonight. And I'd like to thank the committee, all of the committee members, all the work that we have all done on this project. I want to just emphasize one thing as a member of the committee, that one of the key points that we focused on was relative to the ability to expand our economic development opportunities in the town center, so that there was more to do in the town center than just come pay your taxes or come get a permit at the town hall. And so that's, I think, key moving forward, and the committee will continue to look at the implementation of the plan going forward. All right, so thank you very much to all the members of the committee. And moving on to the next item, I'll ask if there are any residents that have anything that they would like to bring to the board. Seeing nobody jump up, we'll move on to the next item. That's the school department statement of interest. Mr. Montori?
Yes. I think the board has a copy of the statement of interest that the school superintendent sent over. As we have in the past, the board needs to vote on the statement of interest that was drafted by the school administration and approved by the school committee prior to it being sent into MSBA. But each one has to be read and individually voted.
Okay, so we have in front of us these two statements of interest. I'll read from both of them, and then we have to do a roll call vote on each of those aspects. So maybe we'll read and vote, if that's all right with everybody. So, resolved, having convened in an open meeting on April 5th, 2016, prior to the closing date, the Board of Selectmen of Tewksbury, in accordance with its charter, bylaws, and ordinances, has voted to authorize the superintendent to submit to the Massachusetts School Building Authority the statement of interest form dated April 1st, 2016 for the North Street School located at 133 North Street, Tewksbury, Massachusetts, which describes and explains the following deficiencies and the priority categories for which an application may be submitted to the Massachusetts School Building Authority in the future. For priority 7, replacement of or addition to obsolete buildings in order to provide for a full range of programs consistent with state and approved local requirements. Built in 1952, the North Street School infrastructure systems are original to the building with inadequate heating and ventilation systems, insufficient electrical services, uninsulated exterior envelope, no fire protection sprinkler systems, undersized classrooms, and the 1975 modular addition appears to be inadequate for current educational purposes, and hereby further specifically acknowledges that by submitting the statement of interest form, the Massachusetts School Building Authority in no way guarantees the acceptance or the approval of an application, the awarding of a grant or any other funding commitment from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, or commits the town of Tewksbury to filing an application for funding with the Massachusetts School Building Authority. So, to the vote, I'd look for a motion relative to the statement of interest for the North Street School.
I will make a motion to accept the statements of interest submitted to the Mass Building Authority for the North Street School dated by the superintendent April 1st, 2016.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. For all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Mr. Johnson, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Gay?
Aye.
Mrs. Stronach?
Aye.
Mr. Kratman?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye as well, so unanimous. Okay, on to the second statement of interest. Having convened in an open meeting on April 5th, 2016, prior to the closing date, the Board of Selectmen of Tewksbury, in accordance with its charter, bylaws, and ordinances, has voted to authorize the superintendent to submit to the Massachusetts School Building Authority the statement of interest form dated April 1st, 2016, for the Luella F. Dewing School located at 1469 Andover Street, Tewksbury, Massachusetts, which describes and explains the following deficiencies and the priority categories for which an application may be submitted to the Massachusetts School Building Authority in the future for priority number 5, replacement, renovation, or modernization of school facility systems such as roofs, windows, boilers, heating, and ventilation systems to increase energy conservation and decrease energy-related costs in a school facility. Built in 1968, the Luella F. Dewing School infrastructure systems are original to the building with inadequate heating and ventilation systems, insufficient electrical services, no fire protection sprinkler systems, undersized classrooms. The main corridor of the school is 3 feet lower than the entry-level vestibule. 2 classroom wings were built at lower levels, and the ramps which connect the classrooms exceed the allowable slope limits for accessibility, and hereby further specifically acknowledges that by submitting this statement of interest form, the Massachusetts School Building Authority in no way guarantees the acceptance or the approval of an application, the awarding of a grant or any other funding commitment from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, or commits the town of Tewksbury to filing an application for funding with the Massachusetts School Building Authority. And with that, I will ask for any motions relative to the Dewing School.
I will make the motion to submit the statement of interest to the Mass School Building Authority dated April 1st, 2016, by the superintendent of schools.
Do we have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Mr. Johnson, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Gay?
Aye.
Mrs. Stronach?
Aye.
Mr. Kratman?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye as well, so unanimous as well. And lastly, we have to indicate a priority school, and so I would ask for a motion relative to that. And I believe the school committee has indicated that the Dewing School is their preferred priority school, so if we could have a motion relative to that, I would appreciate it.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Mr. Johnson, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Gay?
Aye.
Mrs. Stronach?
Aye.
Mr. Kratman?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye as well. That is also unanimous. And we have a document here I'll pass around. Do we have to just, well, we'll take care of that, yeah.
I think it's
Just my signature, yeah. So we'll take care of that at the end. All right, so that takes care of that. Is there anything else relative to that, Mr.?
There is not.
All right.
Sign it
Did you have any other new business or any other items?
Okay, I just have 2 quick items I wanted to bring to the board's attention that I sent today, one that came in prior. The town received its notification from Mass DOT that it will be receiving $916,494 in Chapter 90 funds to be used in FY17. That is about $2,000 less than what we received last year. Funds will be going towards drainage, preventive maintenance such as crack sealing of roads, reconstruction of roads, and engineering. The capital plan that was laid out and approved by the board last week, as well as that's on the website, will outline the Chapter 90 use. Next year, we're proposing to do $50,000 in crack sealing throughout various parts of town, as well as $500,000 in grind and overlay in various parts of the community. We'll be engineering roadway and intersection work for East and Maple, South, Salem, and Main Streets will also be Chapter 90 funded. For stormwater, We have a backlog of manholes that need to be adjusted and repaired for $50,000 next year. Catch basin installation and connection at Van Buren and Marston Street for approximately $150,000. And the remaining part of Chapter 90 will be designing drainage work at Cayuga Street. So that's the plan going into next year. Obviously, we're grateful to the governor and the administration and the Commonwealth for the funding. It's all of the money that we are able to put towards paving and drainage. But at least next year, actually, I gotta read this again. I apologize. Cayuga was in FY '19. Bridge Street culvert repair will be next fiscal year, and we'll be designing repairs to Trollbrook culvert, Bayberry culvert, and Veranda Street. In FY '17, I just read that Cayuga Street was FY '19. We'll also be doing some work next year to Upper Pinnacle Street, Shawsheen Street, and this is all drainage work. Shawsheen at Heathbrook, South and Bridge Street, and also, as I mentioned before, catch basin manhole adjustments. So we have a fair amount of work being done next year, and again, we're grateful to the Commonwealth. So I just wanted to let the board know that. The other thing we received today, we were fortunate to receive notification from the Commonwealth Sewer Rate Relief Fund that we applied for this past fall. The town will be receiving $20,897.69. From looking at the list of what other communities received, other than the Mass Water Resources Authority, who received $873,804, and the city of Cambridge and the city of Boston, we were the highest community to receive funds from sewer rate relief. The Commonwealth had $1.1 million to disperse, so we were very happy to receive $20,000. In previous years, we've received anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 in sewer rate relief. The last 2 years, the funding has been cut because of financial concerns at the state level. But this year, the Commonwealth was able to fund the program, and we'll be receiving $20,000 this year. So we're happy to report that. And then other than that, Finance Committee meets this week, Thursday evening at 7 p.m. to discuss the capital improvement plan. We'll be discussing water and sewer rates, and that'll be at Town Hall at 7 p.m. on Thursday. And that's it. And obviously, Shawsheen Tech will be coming in also. That is it.
Questions or comments relative to those?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I just have one question. Great news on the Chapter 90 money. But one question I have is, I know National Grid has been doing a lot of work in the community. They've been doing a lot of repairing and putting in new gas lines up and down a number of our roadways. Do we ever, is DPW coordinating that with them? Find out where they're going to be going next? I just would like to...
Yeah, we have one of the project engineers that exclusively works with National Grid to know where they're going to be working and to make sure that the backfill of the trenches is done properly, and make sure that if any work needs to be done later on, that we stay on top of that. So we try to coordinate that the best we can. We get a list of their streets ahead of time. We have to get them permits. They don't do any work without our permits. But sometimes their trenches are not backfilled as good as they should be, but we stay on that.
That's great news, because once again, I just want to make sure that we're not going out there spending money crack sealing and then have a utility company go out there and trenching it up. So that's good news that somebody's paying attention and making sure that they're repairing those trenches.
Okay, anybody else? All right, thank you, Mr. Montori. So then with that, we'll turn to our previous clerk for outstanding minutes relative to March 8th, 17th, and 29th.
Thank you. Okay. Well, we got good news. We have, I submitted the minutes for March 8th, regular session, March 17th, regular and executive session, and March 29th, regular session for the board to review, and I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of accepting the minutes as submitted, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'd like to abstain.
Okay, thank you. And the chair will vote aye as well, so it's 4-0 and 1 abstention. Thank you very much. And with that, the last thing on our agenda this evening are board member reports. And so I'll first turn to my left and allow Mrs. Stronach as her inaugural meeting back with us to start us off, if she has anything to report.
I do not have any thing to report except to say thank you very much to everyone who has given me this opportunity, and I look forward to working with all of you as we move forward.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kratman?
I just have one thing. The beautification committee is going to meet on April 11th here at Town Hall. We would love to have a number of residents join us. They are scheduling the cleanup day, which there'll be flyers put around town, and they'll be handing them out in different places. The cleanup day is scheduled for Saturday, May 14th, from 9 to 2 p.m. We're looking for a number of volunteers. It'd be a great opportunity to get the town cleaned up, get ready for the spring season. And so if anybody would like to sign up, they have a Gmail account, which is cleanup.tewksbury@gmail.com. And they are also going to have a, a sign-up page also. So there'll be information that'll be put out through the town website. There'll be handouts and flyers put through town. But if anybody could join us next Monday, that'd be great. We'd love to see as many residents as possible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kratman. Mr. Gay?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of items. The Public Events and Celebration Committee met tonight. Before I go over the details, they are going to ask the board to expand the committee by one member. We have a very interested party that was helped us put the Fall Harvest Festival together. So I would request that we put that on the next agenda on April 26th, and we could address it at that point. We'll have a little bit more detail on the person who's interested. And I just want to remind the residents that the Back to the 80s event will be on April 22nd, Friday night. We'll start at 7 o'clock. The doors will open, but the dance will go from 8 to 12. It'll be at the Elks. People will be able to bring in whatever they want for food. There'll be a cash bar. The tickets are $15 per person, but $125 for a table of 10. And we've been selling tickets at a pretty quick pace, so if people are interested, I would suggest that they get in touch with myself, or I see the chairwoman out in the audience tonight, and she's been getting steady phone calls, so whoever's interested, and I think it's going to be a great event. I know some of the board members have expressed interest, Mrs. Stronach has said so. And it's